Hello, welcome back to the Villa View. It's time for a post-match pint in association with Purity Ale. If you use the code #VillaView, you'll get 10% off everything that Purity have to offer, including all their Villa branded stuff, which is very, very nice. I'm your host, Dan Bardell, joined by Omar to discuss Manchester City 3, Aston Villa 1. And Omar, just a horrendous start, really, that just made the game way more difficult than it needed to be. And Man City, as good as they are, they're an excellent team. Obviously, on their day, they can turn up and batter anyone and score 3 goals against anyone. But Villa gave them a serious leg up today.
Big time. I think all 3 goals really could have been avoided. And yeah, I mean, I don't know about you. When I saw the starting lineup, that was it for me, really. When there's no Mings in the side, you just worry for all his faults. He is still our best centre back. Obviously, we haven't really seen Diego Carlos that much in the Villa shirt, so I can't comment on him. But he's so important to our team. We know. I think there's only 1 game out of 11 we've won since we've been promoted without him in the side. So, as soon as he wasn't in the team, Chambers, we just talked about affair there. He hasn't played really, playing left centre back as you said, in a position that he doesn't normally play, and the fact that he, isn't as good as Mings. Let's face it. It was always going to be a tough task, and Rodri again, he always scores.
There's my head in. I should have put a bet on it because I knew. He scores against us every single time. Gundogan started doing it as well now.
Yeah.
Rodri, it's just the Rodri goal. Everything you've said, obviously, I agree with. I feel a bit for Chambers because you are on a hiding to nothing against the team against Manchester City. He didn't have a good game, but then he wasn't alone in that. But it's difficult for him playing on that left hand side because I don't think he's particularly comfortable there. But then if you play him on the right hand side and put Konsa on the left, I don't think Konsa would be comfortable there either. So we're sure in the squad that's the way life is at the moment. I'm not going to get too hung up on that, but our squad is lacking numbers until Diego Carlos comes back. Centre back is a problem with no Tyrone Mings, and even with Carlos there, I think, like you said, without Mings, it's a huge problem because not only is he a loss in terms of what he does defensively, it's a loss in terms of leadership. But the biggest thing is when he's not there, we just look frail. This is a side that lacks any form of physicality, any side of any kind of height and size. There's just nothing there, is there? And as soon as you look at that corner and you look at who Manchester City have got in the box, it's Land of the Giants against I don't know, the cast of Willow. It looks like it's just no good. No good, is it? The ball comes in. There's a group of players there. Luka Dean, I'm not sure what he's looking at. We'll come on to him a little bit more later. Kamara doesn't go with Rodri. Rodri ends up getting on the end of it. Roy Keane says Martinez possibly should save it and be further across his goal. You'd have to ask a goalkeeping expert on that one, but you've just given him a leg up and got off to an awful start, and it's that man Rodri who just always seems to score against us.
Yeah, and you can imagine that wasn't part of the game plan. So
no,
as soon as that happens, you've got to play the game in a different way than what you were hoping to play the game in. You've got to change your attitude a little bit. And I thought we started off pretty brightly. I think Bailey got through straight away. And we'll come on to Bailey in a second as well. He should have done better with that first attack. And I'm thinking, oh, here we go, we're up for this. I'm thinking maybe it won't be too bad. And I think any other day with Mings inside, I would have fancied us definitely, given what Man City have been through recently and what's been happening off the field. But yeah, really, really poor. I think Kamara really, after playing so well, he's still young at the end of the day, so he's going to be up and down. It's his first season in the league, but I think the last 2 games, you've seen him at his worst probably in terms of he's not dominating midfield like he has done in the past, losing runners, losing the ball, and then that sort of compounded it with that goal as well. And then I never really looked back from there really. And it's Mings it's not only just the height and physicality, but just having that leadership in the box for set pieces. He organises everyone, isn't he? He's such a vocal part of the team, and for all his faults, he's so important to our team. It really is. And I'm not going to sit here and point score like a few have done on Twitter. We see we're the Mings haters now, but he is important to our team. And maybe long term we need to upgrade, but at the moment he's our best centre back and he's so important. And without him, we really, really struggle. And it's why I was a bit, I was a bit down on the transfer deadline day, because I thought maybe not a centre back, but just a couple of players would have. You saw the bench today; it looked bare bones, didn't it? Really, we could have done with a couple of players, and I feel like it's a bit of a missed opportunity because I think we'll end up. I mean, obviously it's the back of a defeat, and we haven't played well, and we've lost to Leicester, so who knows what's going to happen in the next few games. But at the moment, the way I'm feeling, I think it's a missed opportunity, and I feel like we're just going to languish in sort of anywhere between 11th and 15th for the rest of the season. And it feels like we could have done more. And if you have those opportunities, you've got to take them, because it's all well and good people saying, oh, we're going to spend big in the summer and Emery's building a team for the longer term and all this kind of stuff. But football doesn't pan out that way. It just doesn't work like that. Very rarely do managers stay for 5 years and build something. It's unless they've got massive budgets, that the Klopp or Pep's, Arteta to some extent has done it. I suppose his budget's not massive, but again, it's very rare in football, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, I mean, I do think Emery will be here for the long term. And at the end of the day, with the transfers thing, look, we are short. I'm not going to sit here and deny it. But I guess the only thing I can come up with is that was on Unai Emery. He was happy. Well, I say happy. He said, I didn't want to just sign anyone for the sake of it. The players that I thought would come in and be better weren't available. So you either bring in players who, for example, when we bought Bednarek in on loan at the last transfer window, was he good enough?
Yeah, would he have done anything in that game, really? Let's be honest, probably not.
Losing Carlos to injury at the start of the season is the killer, isn't it? That was our own fault as well.
Because even today, I think we had enough there. We had moments like Bailey again, that first half where he intercepts the ball, does really well to intercept the ball. Good first touch, and the second touch is terrible, and then sort of a bit of a scissor tackle, Ben Mees tackle on him.
Yeah, I didn't think that was a great tackle, actually.
Yeah, which sort of went over the ball a little bit, which again, VAR, we'll come on to the penalty in a second, but again, just we had like a few moments like that where we could have done slightly better. But I suppose if you look at the positives, second half is a big positive for me. I think Duran, Coutinho as well, McGinn. I know
people say we've got no squad depth, which I fully agree with, by the way. But, the players we brought on today were all actually good.
Yeah,
I think they're probably better than the people they replaced. At times as well, I would say. Before we go on to the second half, let's look at the second goal, because it's just a catastrophe, in all sorts of varieties. There's a few players you can lay blame. I don't think anyone defensively does anything well in that period of play. Martinez has gone wild. Chambers has obviously done what he's done. Luka Dean again has got absolutely no idea what's going on around him. He's miles off the rest of the defence position-wise, so he's got no chance of getting around on a recovery because he's too high up, not set in the position that he needs to be with the rest of his back line. Just a disastrous goal, isn't it? And suddenly, this is the worry now is that things like this become habits again, because we've seen it in the past. Once Villa might have games where they make a couple of mistakes, they do make a habit of it. I was hoping they'd got all their mistakes out of the way in the last game, but alas, they did not, and there was a few today as well. And you can't make them against Leicester. You definitely can't make them against Manchester City.
No, and if you think about it, Man City didn't create loads, really. Those three chances were given to them. First, with the poor marking. The second, I think Buendia loses the ball, and then Watkins isn't strong enough, trying to win it back. And then it's a bit of a hopeless ball by De Bruyne, really. It's not like it was a pinpoint ball. I don't know what... I see what Martinez is doing, because, the way we're playing, he's told to sort of stay high. He's played and sweep it, and he does the right thing. Chambers, for me, he doesn't know what's going on. He gets scared because
it's the thought of Haaland, isn't it? Almost. Haaland, and again, I'm not having a go at Chambers because he has not played since August. That is not a great game to be coming back into.
But at the same, I agree. But at the same time, if he is going to go for the header, header it. He just sort of guides it. If he's going to header it, just get it away, just clear it. I don't know if he's trying to pass it back to Martinez or what he's doing, but
I'm not sure he knows.
But even then, I think even after that, you think. He gets back, he recovers well to get back, and then he should block that cross, because there's only one place he can put that cross in. And if you watch it again, he tries to block with his left foot, but he doesn't get his left foot out. He just sort of half. I don't know if he injures himself doing it or what, but just poor. And then actually on the back post as well. I suppose it's hard because he's coming behind him, but just poor.
Everyone kind of watches the ball go across go across them. Don't they know what I mean?
Indigan as well. It's just another player.
Didn't he score that goal last season? Pretty much identical.
Pretty much. Well, they're the same spot anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor. Really poor.
Yeah. So then you're 2-0 down, a set piece and a catastrophe at the back. So at that point, you sat there thinking, this is game over. And in fairness, we didn't shrink up. I would say we still did some okay stuff at times, but you're always wary that we're going to concede again. Man City did have a couple of other chances, I think, but generally we weren't bad. We were okay. I do think whoever Manchester City played today, I would have expected them to win just off the back of everything that they'd had.
That team was the strongest team out as well.
Yeah. Oh, who did they have missing? They got what? They got anyone? They got anyone missing?
Foden on the bench. I mean, you got bringing Foden on the bench, and we'll come on to Grealish in a second. And, you know, Grealish and Mahrez are playing really well at the moment.
Yeah, both of them are on good form.
Both of them good form. They had their first choice defence. Bernardo Silva was playing this weird sort of left back position,
and he was doing it very well.
And doing it very well. So weird, isn't it? Just plays it so well. And you know, De Bruyne comes back in the side after being out the side last game. You know, obviously wants to, you know, have an influence on the game. Haaland, you know, they're again looking at the second half. I think, you know, Haaland coming off at half time. It's always difficult when the team's 3-0 up in terms of subconsciously. It's almost human nature to not play with the same level of intensity. So it's always difficult to know whether, you know, people saying, "Oh, that team that finished the game should start the next game," which I sort of agree with, but at the same time, you just don't know, do you? But I did. You know, we'll come on to the second half in a second, but yeah, there were some few standout performances in the second half anyway. But the third goal is the contentious one, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. Look, the way Jack went down, we used to revel in it when he was at Villa. But I would say that it was to win free kicks rather than penalties. I don't remember ever getting a penalty in the situation similar to that. I think if you look at it, there is some form of contact, and I don't think that's what knocks Jack down. I think he trips himself up and ends up going down off the back of clipping his own foot. I don't think it's a dive. I think he genuinely tripped his own foot up there. He's gone down, and the ref's given a penalty. My issue with it is that absolutely, if he was playing for Aston Villa, it's not given in the first place. Which as soon as it's given, even if it goes to VAR, they're not going to overturn it because it's not a clear and obvious error. 2, I don't think VAR even looked at it at all, which is just bizarre. Well, the VAR's had a terrible weekend Premier League-wise anyway. Yeah. But I don't think they even looked at it at all. I remember there was a contentious penalty that we got given in the lockdowns. Well, it was the season we nearly went down. It's Crystal Palace at home. Grealish kind of tripped himself up, and the ref gave it. They looked at it against VAR and they didn't give it. They overturned it. I just think that today he's kind of tripped himself up. That just wouldn't have been given the other way, and it's just it's another shit goal from a Villa perspective as well. And for some reason, Mahrez ends up taking it, who misses nearly every penalty he takes, but doesn't miss against Aston Villa against a penalty specialist as well. I don't know what you thought of us surmised what happened with the penalty.
I think reasonably. I thought it was a pen straight away, to be honest. And people are going to
first look,
people are going to slate me for that, but I did think it was a pen. But then I watched it back.
The ref.
Yeah, I watched it back, and if you watch it closely, so what happens is he is running and their legs do tangle. But one thing that I'm not really sure about is his left leg, when he comes back up, it moves in a really weird position. Like it moves in a position where it's trying to get caught almost. Now, I don't know if that's him just running or him doing it to try and get a penalty. I don't know. But for me, at the end of the day, there is contact. He goes down. He makes quite a bit of it at the end. Like he sort of exaggerates the fall a little bit. But at the same time, for me, he's a professional footballer. He's trying to win a game for his team, and he did that sort of week in, week out for us. So long are the days gone that Jack Grealish is a fan of Aston Villa, and that's what we think of him. He's a professional footballer. The way he moved to Man City and everything that went on, which I think for him, for his career, was the right thing to do. And I don't begrudge him at all now. I was obviously upset at the time, but I think in the day he's trying to win. He's trying to do a job. He gets paid a lot of money by the club that he's playing for to try and win games, and he's got to do it at the end of the day. He's a professional. He's a footballer first. He's a fan second. So, people have forgiven and forgotten what Ashley Young did. He dived. He did the exact same thing.
I will say that Ashley Young was worse.
That was worse, exactly. And he's not a boyhood Villa fan, so this is probably why it's a bit worse. But I think in about 6 months' time, people have forgotten about it, to be honest. I think it's one of those where it sort of reinforces, which is why I suppose I feel for Villa fans that just football's a shit game, to be honest. That the love affair that we had with Dino and Jack, that went when Jack left, and then obviously Dean Smith got sacked, and now this just sort of adds to that sort of feeling where it's like, what's the point? Almost like it's like we had that sort of that feeling where quite a rare feeling in football in modern times where you can enjoy your captain, a manager being a fan of your club, and one-man clubs and all this kind of stuff. And now he's gone, it just doesn't feel like that. But I do think if in a few years' time he comes back to Villa, which could conceivably happen, I think people won't care. So I'm not like I'm pissed off with him or anything like that, and slate him and tag him or anything like that. But I understand Villa fans. I also understand Jack Grealish's view that he's got to try and win a game. End of the day,
look, he's a boyhood Villa fan. That hasn't changed. Like you can't change his past. He was a Villa fan growing up. Had a season been to games his whole life. Loves the club, but he's playing for Manchester City. I saw he had a shot in the first half of curler, which Martinez made a really good save. And he went like that. And I think he almost pulled out of it after he'd done it. But because I think the Villa fans behind the goal were having a go at him for like doing that. You can't expect him not to try and score against Villa. Like I said, I don't think it was a dive for the penalty, but I don't think it was a penalty either. That's just my opinion. I don't think it's a penalty, and I don't think it gets given the other way if Grealish is playing for Villa, because we've seen evidence of that of that before. And also, I've got to be a little bit careful because obviously they employ me, but pundits at half time like saying how clever and things it is. I'm sure like this is more against, like, there used to be a lot of stuff against foreigners for diving in the studios, like the pundits used to talk about, and I'm sure they used to get hammered. But when it's an English player, it's clever. But
same with Harry Kane, isn't it? It's always happens. It's Suarez used to do it all the time. He used to get slated for it. Not that I like Suarez, but
Fernandes does it.
Fernandes does it. It's just part of the game. There's so many players that do it. It's just when it's an English player, it's just sort of clever, and he's winning the game for his team, and it's just part of football. And I don't like it. I'm not sitting here saying it's the right thing to do, and I'm happy about it at all. I just think I've given up caring, to be honest. I've given up trying to fight against it. It's just the way football is, and I suppose you can say, well, why you should accept it. It shouldn't be like that, but good luck trying to change it. End of the day, I don't think it changes the what was going to happen in the game, the result of the game.
No, the game was gone. The game was gone. That was our own fault. I do. Yeah. Ramsey's unfortunate, I think, for the third goal, because he's just running. He's running behind him, and there is some contact. I don't think it's enough to send him down, but I don't think it's that sends him down. I think it's him tripping himself up that ends up sending him down. And then obviously he appeals that he should have a penalty, which is normal for a footballer to do, and then it gets given, doesn't it? So it does hurt though, because obviously Villa fans loved him. I loved him at Villa. Like, he was probably one of the most loved players of all time. So it hurts seeing him play for someone else, and it hurts when he plays against Villa and he's involved in something that ends up conceding a goal. But he's in the past.
It's almost like, what it is. It is. I think people were almost anticipating something like this might happen in one of these games, where he'd do something like that, or he'd score or celebrate or whatever.
I've been waiting for him to score ever since he went.
They're just people just waiting to be angry about something. I think it is. It's one of those things. We were crap. We were going to lose the game anyway. This has happened. It's like, let's just get angry. Let's just shout and send abuse on Twitter and get
some of the stuff. I will say some of the stuff I've seen said about him on Twitter.
I'm gonna get slated in the comments. I don't really care, because it's just like, who cares? Grow up, man. It's part of football. It's shit. It shouldn't have happened. And I don't feel the same way about Jack Grealish the way I did when he played for us. I still fond of him. I still want him to do well in some games, but at the same time, he's not like top of my priority list or anything like that. I don't really care what he does.
No. We had bigger issues than that today.
Bigger issues, exactly. Yeah, I care about my team. That's all I care about. So, he dives. Some other players are going to dive. It is part of football. Gone are the days of him being the fan favorite and golden boy that could do no wrong. He did this kind of stuff for us, so it is what it is.
And I guess if he was playing for England, I guess we'd welcome it.
We'd take it. Yeah, if it was the World Cup final, he'd be like, yeah, whatever. So,
but I don't think it was a penalty. I don't think the referee should have given it. I don't think the referee should have given it.
I completely agree. But again, it is your point on Twitter, which I think is correct, is if it was the other way around, it doesn't get given. So
no, it wouldn't have done.
That's probably what I'm more concerned about. Where football needs to change, where it can change, is consistency when it comes to the bigger teams. And it's some people might say, it's a conspiracy theory, but it happens. We see it week in, week out. It happens all the time.
Well, to that, right? Wolves yesterday, Lamina getting sent off for being the third player to crowd the ref. What a load of rubbish! That happens every single game. Terrible. It would have happened today. Man City would have done it today. Villa probably would have done it today. Whether there'd been 3 players or more going up to the referee. That sending off yesterday was an absolute joke. But again, probably that wouldn't happen to one of the top 6. It just wouldn't, would it? And Wolves have gone on and won the game, which I think has saved a massive look into that. Because Wolves have ended up winning, it's kind of been swept under the carpet a little bit. Yeah. That was an awful second yellow card. You can't be giving someone a second yellow for that when he's the third player on the scene. Yeah. You should have to book them all, and you should book players all the way through the game. Yeah, if that's the case. It's been a bad weekend for officiating in VAR. They always seem to happen at the same time. So Villa 3-0 down, not looking great at this point. I'm hungover. I'm just eating a Domino's pizza. I'm feeling terrible about myself. Feeling terrible about life.
That was a pizza.
It's one of the days. Hard to eat.
What'd you go for? What'd you go for?
To eat. I'm vegetarian, honestly. Just a margarita with onions.
I didn't know you're vegetarian.
Yeah, I've been vegetarian for years.
Have you? I didn't know that.
Yeah. I mean, this is great content. Let's forget the game. Let's talk about being vegetarian.
To be honest, I'm not vegetarian, but I do margarita pizza pretty much always for me as well.
To be honest, my mouth was so dry and I'm hungover from last night. My mouth
having onions as well.
My mouth feels horrible doing this podcast. And then when I saw that team today, I was like, oh no. This could be a long one. This could be a long day. But in Villa's defence, right, you think, God, we're going to come out in the second half and get absolutely pulverised here potentially.
Yeah.
But they didn't. Man City did take their foot off the pedal. I don't think that didn't happen for 1 second. But it was better, and there was a reaction after half time, which I think is a good sign because it means Emery's got some messages across and things have improved. And like I said at the top end, I do think the subs that came on were good. So that was a positive. When we're saying we haven't got a squad, it's not very big, but there is still some quality on the bench to come on.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, to be honest, I think McGinn should have started. And I thought
McGinn should start today.
I know hindsight's easy, but I was saying it at the time because I thought, Ramsey, I love Ramsey, but in terms of a game like this, I think you need his hustle and bustle. McGinn, he's so good away from home against the bigger teams.
I'd have actually started McGinn instead of Bailey today, and I'd
try
Ramsey further forward. I honestly think.
The thing is, I like Bailey, and although he wasn't very good today, in fact, he was terrible today. Was that his pace, him and Watkins up front as a two, that can cause so much damage, and you don't. Yeah,
Man City play high, don't they?
The high line, you lose that with McGinn. So I understand that, but either way, I think you would have started. But it was good to see him on. It was good to see Duran play well. I think he's so suited to the Premier League, isn't he? Just his physicality.
He looks ready, doesn't he? It's a bit weird because we're kind of expecting this guy from the MLS to come on and just shrink and not be ready. But actually, it looks like it's perfect. The Premier League's perfect.
Well, it looks bloody better than Bailey at the moment, to be honest. Well, as much as I love Bailey, I'm not one of these Bailey haters at all. I think he's a good player, and I think he's contributed a lot this season already.
Important goals
he scored, but I thought.
But you just need a little bit more all round, don't you? I think at times, especially he had a good game against Man City at Villa Park. Obviously, scored that goal today. He'd make it. His first touch would be fine, then he'd make a bad second touch if he would play himself into trouble at times. He'd get out-muscled quite easily, which I think today, that was my main takeaway from today.
Yeah,
Man City are better, aren't they? You expect them to be better, but we just can't match up with these teams physically. Yeah, and that's concerning. That's concerning. That's a worry because, like I say, that first corner, you're watching them try and mark, and in some ways, be surprised if Man City didn't score. And set pieces were coming into a bit of criticism, set piece coach, etc., which I'd never really agree with because it said that we conceded a lot of goals from set pieces this season. A lot of them weren't under Emery. No. I don't remember. Have we conceded off a set piece since Emery's arrived? I can't remember one.
No.
I think that might be the first one. So they're analysing that, saying Villa have had problems with set pieces all season, but actually it was all under the previous manager.
Who didn't listen to the set piece coach, remember? The previous manager.
Of course not. Didn't listen to anyone by the sounds of it.
Yeah, exactly. So, and today was a personnel problem rather than a setup problem in terms of set piece. I think Duran, excellent, I thought. And that shot, brilliant technique as well. Shows he's got a bit more than just pace and power. Begin was good. Coutinho looked good as well.
He linked up right. He just needs a goal, Coutinho. I think if he gets a goal, he'll be okay. He just needs something to go in. For him, he had a good shot today. It was a good save from Edison. Yeah. Actually, I think Coutinho will play the next game. I think so. I think he'll come in the same against Arsenal. I think he's.
Where would you play him though? Where into Bundia?
I don't know, but from what it sounds like is that he's been pushing and been in the thoughts of the manager getting close to being in the team anyway. I just think his little cameo today might play him into the team. He might even play instead of Bailey, and Buendia. Was it Spurs where Buendia kind of played up front with Watkins and Bailey played on the right? I think maybe we'll see Buendia move forward.
Do you reckon we'll see a formation change at some point? Or do you reckon he'll stick with this?
I don't know. I still think...
Because he's quite flexible for Emery.
Off the ball, it's very, very fluid.
Yeah,
people are dropping in all over the place to make extra defenders, extra midfielders. It's very, very, very fluid. The formation defensively, I don't think there is one. But when we're on the ball, it's very much a 4-2-2-2, isn't it? And that's what we're trying to do. I think Coutinho just might come in. I think he's probably done enough in his last few cameos to get himself in the team. It doesn't sound like he's sulking, which, a big player like him, you'd maybe expect if he's not in the team that you're sulking and stinking out the place and bad attitudes. But it doesn't sound like there's anything with that with Coutinho, which is good to hear. He seems, he seems quite settled in general, doesn't he? The Villa obviously got those South American players. There's a big group. There's a group of them now that they go out together. They do stuff together with the wives and the girlfriends as well. So he's part of that group. So I think off the pitch, he's probably quite happy, Coutinho, at the moment. Just needs something to go right for him on the pitch. I think
it's a shame that Leicester goal got struck off, isn't it? Because I thought that could have been
you can see the relief from him then. But I just think today the subs that came on, they all had a positive impact on the game. Duran might end up working really well as an impact sub this season, and we haven't spoken about Watkins. Another goal for him. His output under Emery has been really, really good. He took his goal well. Again, Ollie Watkins, I think since Emery's come in, I've seen nothing but positives in Ollie Watkins. People still continue to say he's not good enough. I disagree with that, and I'd also say, whilst he's our only senior striker, you've got to get behind him.
With 6 goals now, isn't it? I think in the Premier League now. I think he's top goal scorer along with Ings now.
And I think 4 of them are under Emery, one under Gerrard and one under Danks.
I think so, yeah.
So, he's picked up assists as well. I think he's on 4 assists under Emery.
Yeah.
As well, So his output since Emery's come in, he got taken off early in one game against Leeds. He didn't start one of the other games, I don't think. Or he was
injured. When did he get injured?
He didn't play Brighton.
Brighton, yeah.
Leeds, he went off injured. He got hooked relatively early in the Wolves game for Danny Ings. So his goal output in the minutes that he's actually played under Emery is, I imagine, quite high. I can't do the maths now, but
we know. Should we do that? Should we just spend half an hour doing the maths? Maybe.
Yeah, let's try that, mate.
Lose all the viewers.
It would be a struggle for me at the best of times, the mathematics, let alone today.
But his all-round game's always been good. But this goal contribution to assists, I think, is a big thing for me. The fact he's getting, obviously, goals are important. That's his number one priority in the day. But I think the goals, the assists. Sorry, my battery's about to go. Yeah, I know. It's just fallen off. I didn't realise. The assist is a big thing for me. The fact he's getting involved in the build-up play. I think it's a good sign. I think Emery really rates him. He's really happy with him. We just need another to sort of give him competition next season, I think. But for now, I've always liked Watkins. I know he's been given loads of crap for his finishing, and it's. We've talked about at length, and we have difficulties to find a striker who score more than 15 goals a season. And I think Watkins, the way he's playing now, carries that on next season and probably get in and around that kind of figure, which is, you can't ask for much more than that. If he's getting 5 to 8 assists on top of that as well, that's good going, that is.
Well, I think he must be, under Emery, our top scorer, or at least joint top scorer with Danny Ings now. And he must be our top assister. No, since Emery's come in, I'm talking.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
You can almost discount the whole Gerrard tenure because it was a load of rubbish. This season, it was rubbish. We weren't making anything happen. We looked toothless completely going forward the whole time. Since Emery's come in, he must be joint top scorer. Easily, he must be our top assister. From your centre forward, I'm not sure what else you can ask for really. Considering his hold up play is pretty decent, he stretches teams, and he works hard as well. If Emery had been here at the start of the season, I'd say he'll get 15 goals.
Yeah, where you remember in a game in where you won more than half your games in that run as well. He's a top goal scorer, top assist. It's not like he's scoring goals and assists. And apart from today, obviously, where he scored and we've lost. And last week, I was about to make a point of that. He's scoring goals in important games, but we've lost.
He did put us ahead last week, in his defence. He did put us ahead.
Yeah, true. And he was involved in the second goal as well, obviously with the deflection.
So I think we've got bigger problems than Ollie Watkins. In all honesty, in our team, Louise got another assist today as well.
Yeah, Louise I thought was better of the two against him and Kamara,
but not his best level.
Not his best. And it is games like this where you think with Louise, his physicality is sometimes a bit lacking, isn't it? But at other times, his just general play is brilliant. But I still think we still need another in midfield, don't we? We still need like another Kamara, really, ideally, or someone like that who's a bit more physical.
It's quite clear he doesn't fancy Dendoncker at this point.
No,
because he's just not really getting any football at all, is he? He's not coming on.
And I think Dendoncker did fairly well under Danks, and I think did he play Man? He started as
Man. He played Man, yeah, because Kamara came on. Yeah, he played.
Yeah. So I think he's not like he's played badly. So I don't know, but yeah,
he might have been an option at centre back today as well, potentially.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. I didn't think of that. I know he normally plays in the 3 for Belgium, but yeah, I didn't think of that.
If I thought Chambers looked slow, I imagine Dendoncker might have looked slower. He's not the quickest, is he? He's not. He doesn't look the most comfortable running around the pitch. It's a hard one today. You know, just what we've just said again about Louise. Man City midfield today. You got Rodri, you got Gundogan, you got De Bruyne, who had a point to prove after last week and was good. I thought Bernardo Silva's floating in from left back and coming into the midfield. Now for Kamara and Louise in the midfield too that were there today, it ain't an easy task.
No, it's always going to be difficult, isn't it? Yeah, I think next week if Mings comes back, I know we're going to do a preview later on in the week, but I think that's that potentially could be a game that we could do something in. And Arsenal have struggled in the last couple of games.
Yeah, they've had a couple of bad games.
Yeah, you never know. I'm not right, but it's a bad day at the office, isn't it? The worst.
They've got another game as well, Arsenal. They've got City in the week. So
have they?
They've got another game to play. We've got a free week, obviously. Well, I'm sure we'll have plenty of them coming up. But you know, things like that, they do make a difference. Emery against his old team, you know. Before they lost to Everton, I was thinking I had a sneaky feeling. Oh, maybe Emery against his old team, maybe we'll be the first ones to beat them since Manchester United. But obviously they've now lost and drawn a game since, and they may well lose again to City on Wednesday. But you know, today was like the first time we've lost away under Emery as well. You know, that's a big thing. 4 away games. You know, and the first one we've lost is Man City.
It's not bad.
It's the end of the world, is it?
No. Yeah, you got to be looking upwards. I think with Emery. I think all the signs are there. In the day, this is the same squad that was terrible under Gerrard. A lot of the same players that are terrible under Dean Smith. There's still a lot of work to be done. It's to be honest, I was speaking to someone earlier yesterday about how remarkable it is that this is the same bunch of players that Gerrard had, and the way that we're playing football compared to what we were playing under Gerrard. You know, it's just in a matter of weeks, really. In a really short amount of time, how quickly we've managed to transform into a competent team. Obviously not competent today, but just generally speaking. So I think, all the signs are there. We know Emery's the top manager. Let's see what the summer brings. I think for the rest of the season, it's a case of just get to 40 points as quickly as possible. Not that I think we're in danger of being relegated.
We thought we were in a relegation scrap.
I don't think so.
I don't think we'll get
28 points. I think with 28 points, there's winnable games coming up after Arsenal. I'd expect us to get another 4 wins the rest of the season.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of the time you don't even need 40 points. You may well need 40 points this season. In fairness, it's looking like it might be a high one to finish 18th potentially. But Gaz Oak says there are 2 best centre backs out today. Essentially, he's probably your 3rd and your 4th centre back playing today. Shane Meters, Bailey reminds me of Nzogbia. I don't think he's quite reached those levels of badness.
No. Bailey. I think I could. Yeah, I would say he's still Bailey. Apart from Watkins, is the top goal contributor this season. People forget that. He scored some important goals.
He's so wildly inconsistent.
He's so inconsistent. I think the fact we paid 30 million for him, it does irk you a little bit. But let's see what happens. It'll work under another 6 months. Emery, who knows what kind of player we'll have. He's got talent, no doubt. But it pissed me off today, no doubt. But then the other games, I'll love him. So it is one of those players, a bit like Traore, I suppose. Similar kind of, not in terms of the way that they play.
Throwing him into the mix soon as well. I can imagine them 2 on the pitch at the same time.
Oh, it's going to be lovely. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be either the best game I've ever seen in my life or the worst game I've ever seen in my life. And I can't wait for it.
Some confidence from Bertie taking that number 9 shirt as well. I'll take the number 9. Give me. He's come back and just decided he wants to be the number 9. Fair play to him. Good show of confidence. But them 2 on the pitch at the same time.
I'm looking forward to seeing him without his hair though. I'll see him in the new hair.
More aerodynamic this time around. But I'm glad he's back because I think he's a decent option from the bench actually. Considering where we could be. I mean, the bench today when you've got two under 21s goalkeepers on the bench. That's not great. And then you forget to name one of your players, your new signing. You forget that he's there and forget to put him on the bench as well. That's another thing. God knows. I kind of said it as a joke when I tweeted before the game, saying hopefully that's just an oversight.
I thought it was an oversight,
because Emery had mentioned him in the press conference, and then suddenly you see the tweet from AVFC official. Oh, by the way, John Duran's on the bench, rather than Martin Tyler's about to get a special dispensation to put him on the bench. Yeah, that's what Martin Tyler said.
What are we doing?
Because we forgot to put him there. We forgot we could have 9 subs.
That's proper like village cricket. That is honestly.
It's like Mike Bassett, Benson, and Hedges stuff. That is what's gone on there.
Well, we are playing 4-4-2, to be fair. So,
that's got you off to a bad start to the day when you're forgetting to put someone on the bench. If that is what's happened.
Yeah. There you go. That's where our heads at, isn't it? I think.
I don't know who writes the team. I presume Embry. I don't know how it works. I really don't know how it works.
I don't think it's like a Sunday League football or village cricket where the captains are writing the names and putting their telephone numbers in on a piece of paper and give it to the referee.
You wouldn't expect to forget to put someone on the bench on Sunday League, would you?
That's terrible.
Let alone the Premier League. If that is what happened, I'm just going off what Martin Tyler said on Sky.
Yeah. No.
Villa had to get proper.
That is so bad. That you're right. That is a bad sign, isn't it? When that happens, I'm
going to find out this week how team sheets get who does it, how it gets handed in. I want to know who did that. I want to know who. I thought because at first I thought that's an error from the admin on Twitter.
Yeah.
Like they've forgotten to put him in the graphic, but that's not what happened. Apparently, Villa forgot to put John Duran on the bench. I'm laughing about it. That's terrible.
How could you forget? They've got like 3 players on the bench. It's not like there's loads of names you have to remember.
There's two keepers on there. You've only named 8 of them. It's not good, is it? That's not good at all. So yeah, that got us off to a flyer. I didn't know. I got off to a flying start in the day.
You think about the bench though. I think if Carlos comes back in,
if everyone's fit, it's okay.
Yeah, you got Carlos, McGinn, Coutinho, Traore, Duran, Dendoncker, Matty Cash. It's not a bad bench actually. Thinking about it, but yes,
Jet's there. We'll be back on the bench soon. He'll be coming back to training soon because we have these two goalkeepers on the bench. I don't know what's happened to. I'll try and find out. I'll ask Greg.
Yeah.
No, not. Couldn't really care less about that at the moment.
Oh, right, fair enough.
I'm talking. I forgot his name. Caden Young.
Oh, right.
Where's he gone? Because if he was fit, he'd be on the bench. I'm imagining instead of 2 goalkeepers being on the bench.
Probably picked up a knock. Who knows?
Yeah, because he was doing a lot of club TV stuff as well, and then since he's done that, he hasn't seen him.
Yeah, he did it with Ashley Young, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. So he must be injured, which is unfortunate. I think I can't remember if I've said this on Villa View or not as well. The other thing is when we're naming 2 keepers on the bench at certain points because our academy teams or reserve teams have games on the same day. So someone gets more out of playing a game of 90 minutes than they would do sat on the bench not coming on. So then that's partly to do because you always have to have 3 goalkeepers travel with you as well.
Right.
That's across the board.
Right.
So that person essentially is there anyway. So I think we've just been doing. You can only make 5 subs.
Yeah.
So really, but yeah, forgetting to put a player on the bench is not good. Not a good start to the day.
No. I didn't realize it was that bad. I thought it's an admin oversight, as you said.
Maybe Martin Tyler's got it wrong. But I can't imagine he'd just say that live.
I kind of hope he hasn't got it wrong because it's just really funny if he hasn't. That's hilarious.
Yeah. We'll try and. I'd like to find out more about that because absolutely ridiculous. Never change, Aston Villa. Never change. I think that does us so much. I've enjoyed talking to you. To be fair,
it's been fun.
I wasn't looking forward to doing this in all honesty, but I've enjoyed talking to you, and we'll be back with plenty more shows through the week. We'll be recording 1874 tomorrow. Then there will be the Stato preview, the normal preview as well for the Arsenal game. Omar, we've got a video that we're planning to do as well on Villa's transfers since they returned to the Premier League. Basically, a tier list thing, basically. But I didn't want to call it a tier list, but that's what it is. So Omar and myself will be doing that at some point in the near future as well. So watch out for that. That's it really. Yeah. Thanks to Purity for continuing to sponsor us. #VillaView is the code to get 10% off everything they have to offer. Thanks to all those who've tuned in and watched live, and to everyone that will go on to watch us as well. Remember, we have got stuff going on Spotify now as well. I think we have video on Spotify as well. So yeah, if you want to watch via Spotify, if that's your preferred method, go and do that because we are on there and we like to grow on there as well as on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel with your post notifications on. Thank you very much. I'm going to have a drink and go to bed. Up the Villa.
Up the Villa.